In regards to the Second Vatican Council, its principal task, according to Pope St. John Paul II in his writing Fide Depositum, was, quote, to guard and present better the precious deposit of Christian doctrine in order to make it more accessible to the Christian faithful and to all people of good will, end quote. Pope St. John Paul II would go on to say in the same writing that this was the, quote, reason the council was not first of all to condemn the errors of the time, but above all to strive calmly to show the strength and beauty of the doctrine of the faith. And this approach mentioned by Pope St. John Paul II by the bishops at the Second Vatican Council is what made it unique among most of the ecumenical councils in church history. Rather than focusing on the condemnation of heresy or error, like many of the councils in the past, it focused more so on developing an effective and accurate proclamation of the faith to the modern world. This desire of those who participated in the council to proclaim the faith in the modern world can be understood through two words that became associated with both the work of and movements within the council. The first word is Journalmento, an Italian word that means to bring up to date. A lot of controversy has been associated with this term over the last century, as some who belong to this movement of Journalmento have been accused of having personal agendas to not only represent the faith in a way that's intriguing to modern man, but to accommodate it to modern culture to a point of changing certain church doctrines, acts often described as assisting the church in getting with the times. However, a proper employment of Journalmento could be understood through the lens of Pope St. John Paul II's call for a new evangelization, new in ardor, methods, and expression, particularly in a way that speaks to the heart of modern man without emptying doctrine. The second word that became associated with the council is ressourcement, which is a French word that means to return to the sources. This term and the movement that became associated with it expressed the desire of many Catholic bishops and theologians who wanted to return to the sources of the faith, specifically considered to be sacred scripture and the writings of the church fathers. As the church at the time of the council was still deeply associated with a post-Protestant Reformation culture, yet found itself presently existing in a very different modern and secularized culture, many bishops and theologians saw the need to return to the sources of the faith in order to then discern, through their immersion in these sources, how the faith could be better articulated and presented in our modern age, as well as lived out by modern Catholics. With this context of the Second Vatican Council in mind, according to Joseph Cardinal Ratzinger, who would later become Pope Benedict XVI, it was in the council's final period that Lorenz Cardinal Jaeger from Germany proposed the commissioning of a universal catechism that would reflect this desire of Journalmento in the area of articulating doctrine. However, concerned with many other tasks, the council eventually chose not to move forward with this proposal, and the project of a universal catechism as a fruit of the Second Vatican Council was pushed aside.